Hi everybody and welcome back to Sandling Junction. In this video we're going to be talking about point motors and what I decided to do with relation to the build at Sandling Junction. So join me now and let's see what I did. Welcome back everybody. In this video, as I said just now, that we're going to be talking about what point motors that I'm going to be using around the whole of Sandling Junction moving forward. Now, what I decided to do is by no means an endorsement of the product for everybody else, and anything that I was going to do and decided not to do has got no detrimental effect to those products either. I just want to get that out of the way right from the start. So what did I decide to do? Well, first off, I was going to go with DCC Concepts IP Cobalt servo motors, and they look really good. The only thing for me is I've got 76 at least as a minimum to put round Sandling Junction in the end, and with all the different mimic boards and other panels that I would need to be involved with that, I just could not afford to possibly contemplate it. So a lot of soul searching, a lot of research, and I decided through well, many reasons really, apart from the cost, moving forward beyond just putting the layout down and having the points move across nicely with a cobalt IP or a tortoise or any one of these others of that nature. I did decide to go with standard servos that are very cheap to buy, but then to buy a control system that I felt that would drive those moving forward but give me a lot more scope with the layout much further down the road. I'm talking about things like, because I'm working, I'm sort of doing steam era mainly, then there's going to be a lot of semaphores and things like semaphore bounce and upper and lower quadrant movement of the semaphore, adjustment, speed, even things like gates and other objects that not necessarily to do with points can all be operated from a system where it's controlled beyond the standard cobalt or slave device. So what did I do? Well, this is no means an advert, but I went for mega points. And why did I do mega points? Well, I did an awful lot of research, and a lot of questions were asked, and several close friends of mine who are modelling sort of said about mega points, and I checked it out, and indeed the guy there is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, obviously, because he's developed the product, but all of his videos online are really clear, concise and idiot proof, and that's good for me. And but on top of that, he's actually become extremely helpful to me. I've had a myriad of questions, and how the heck he can answer those and do his workflow, I don't know. But it all sounds like I'm plugging it. Well, I'm not. Okay, I mean, it's working. It's going to be working for me on Sandling Junction. If it works for you, that's up to you. I'm just simply saying that from Sandling Junction's point of view, it's the decision I've made. And I hope it's the right one. I'm sure it will be. But what I wanted to show you in this video is my initial working with the devices that I've purchased, and I've made mistakes, I've wired it up wrong, and I've got nothing fitted to the layout yet. So this is all a learning curve, and a very steep one, because I don't do electrics very well at all. So if you see this and you've got comments to make, please put them in the comment section below, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And what I will say is a great big thank you to all the new subscribers. I can't believe that the last videos that I put out, especially the April part 1, which has gone to almost 6,000 views, which is crazy, but very thankful and very, very welcome. And I'm almost knocking on the door of 1,000 subscribers, which I can't wait to break that barrier. And I just thank everybody for coming on board with that and supporting me and supporting my channel and the build of Sandling Junction. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But all that said, I'm going to stop gassing on, and I want to sort of go down here and show you what I've been doing with the Megapoint system. And yeah, I hope you find it interesting. I'm finding it a challenge, I've got to say. And but the guy there, Dave Fenton, who runs the company, yeah, he's great. He's been great, and he's been very, very helpful to me. So yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on and show you and talk about it, and see where we go from there. Bye for now. I've been umming and ahhing over Cobalt or Megapoint, and I've sort of been asking so many questions, and everybody I've asked, you know, all the guys at DCC Concepts, fantastic, answered everything I needed to know. And Dave from Megapoints put up with so many phone calls from me, it's unbelievable. I mean, the man is very, very busy, but not once did it make me feel that I couldn't phone him. And he answered emails and all sorts. So in a time when, you know, finding good service is hard, I got to say that in the model railway industry, so far, pretty much everybody I've come across has just got the time of day to talk to you and help you out. There have been one or two exceptions, but on the whole, everybody's really nice. And I get, may seem a bit of an advert for Megapoints, and I do apologise if it seems that way, because I have no remuneration from this company at all, other than the fact that the service I've received so far has been outstanding, even to the point where these servos are really hard to get right now. Excuse me. And you know, David has lent me these until stocks come into the country, so that I can continue with what I want to do. Now, I've got no idea right now half of what I'm looking at, and I do hope that before the end of when I put this video out, I do hope that I can have at least something up and running, so you can see somewhere how it works. But I do think that it was the right choice, and I know it's not going to be for everybody's choice. It is plug and play, it is fairly simple, and these are probably the cheapest part of it at under £2 each, and about £1.77, something like that. So why have I gone for them? Because I feel that in the long term, Sandling Junction will benefit from having a system that is more able to be modified and tweaked to be more prototypical, in as much as things like semaphore signals can be made so that they have a bounce in them, or a flick upwards, or when they're returned they have that little sudden jolt. Lots of little things. I can put gates that move, I can do so many things, and the mind boggles. And I think that there are other systems out there, one I've mentioned, that don't seem to have the ability to go beyond their initial job of just switching over the switchblades on a point, which is fine. That's all you're asking them really to do, and they do it really well. And I have a whole load of Cobalt IPs that will be doing the same job. But I just feel that Sandling Junction has got a long way to go with this stuff in the future, and as I get better at modelling and understanding all of this, I can make it do more for me, and that way it will sort of be so much more superior in the times to come. So I made my decision. As you can see, it's all here, and thank you again for Megapoints for being so fast, so helpful, and hopefully I'll be able to come back and tell you, or at least show you, something working. Anyway, that's enough for now. I don't want to keep going on and on and on. So I'll talk to you all very soon with a bit more. Thank you. Bye for now. Okay, so this is just a little bit of what I bought. There's a big box over yonder, and that contains everything else. And I thought I would try and get a little bit less full of mess everywhere. So what I wanted to just basically show you was the very simple system that it is. This is the master control system, and I'm not quite sure, they all have their proper names, but this panel has up to 24 double lights. Now these you can buy in separate. These are doubles. Okay, if you can see those, if that will focus up on them. These are double 3mm LEDs, and they quite simply go along on here in numbers, numeric forms, and along here you have what is in here switches. These switches attach to a small plug, and they fit along there. They match these ones numerically. So you have 24, you have 24 switches. Or indeed, if you don't use switches, you can use toggle switches. These are just press button ones, but you have options. But whichever you do, they wire into here. So with that said, let's just leave that for a moment. This is the servo control panel. Now this actually runs up to 12. But the nice thing is that if you have this one here, you can actually toggle off of that and you can daisy chain many of these as you like. In fact, these are 12, that's 24, matching this one, but I can then add more and I can go up to 192 servos, which is staggering. And I just keep adding on and adding on. So with that said, I'm just going to literally put one of these together and just show you. So very simple, it's all plug and play, which is absolutely fantastic for someone like me, because I don't do technology very well. There are ways that these wires go in, and although I'm not going to try and teach you how to do everything in that fashion, it's all easy enough to follow either in the extensive manual you can download, or indeed from looking at the videos, because they are, as I said, so easy. So provided I do that, now we have a light, an LED light, and you can see, I don't know, one of them is lit. I don't know if that's able to be seen from there, but one of those LEDs is a light, and there's the switch. Now if I actually do that, press that switch, you'll see them both flashing. I press it again, they flash. So one is always on and one is always off, but the point is that you put them in such a way on your mimic board, if that's where you go later on, or indeed on just a temporary mimic panel that the company produce, it just alternates and tells you which road is open to the train to go down. So let's put that to one side for there. Now that one is not wired up, let's put it out the way. But I need to make sure that this and this are talking to each other, so I simply add in a network cable. And again, there is a way that these should be wire-wise, so as long as I observe that, I don't think I have in this case. There we go, I had it the wrong way round. Me all over. I always get ham-fisted and worry that I'm going to damage something on these very small circuit boards. There we go. So now these two are linked, and I can test that theory, I think, by, if I take the power off of this one, like so, hold down the low button, and then reattach power, you'll see them both flashing. That now gives me two little flashes before it returns to its standard beep flash. But it tells me it's linked to this one and is slave to this one. And if I do others, you do it in such a way so they get 2, 3, 4 and so on and so forth. So now let's put a servo on. Let's put this one on. These, by the way, these are fantastic little bits. They come in packs of 6 to a sheet, and they're laser cut. But that's so simple, just almost snap together, push together with a little bit of instant glue. Then these just hold, and you can then screw your servos into the face panel, put your piano wire in, and off you go. So I'm just going to put this one into number 1. And again, there is a way that the wires go around, so just observe that. But now you'll see, I hope, that not only will these lights flash alternate, but so the servo will move. So simple. And what a quiet servo. Ones that I've tried so far are very, very loud. And the thing for me in the future with Sandling Junction is that I really, really want to be able to film and change points and stuff as the train goes round. And the last thing I really want is a loud servo noise going across just in front of the train and interfering with either the sound of the train or anything else. So to that end, I'm happy that these are very, very quiet. And if they ever go wrong, you simply unmount it, take this out and put another one in, and they're about £1.70, £1.80. There's just no money on them. But there you go. So that's very simple. Now the point is that I've just shown you one. You can have up to 24 and 2 of these working quite happily, and you can increase that. As I say, I think up to about 192 in total. But let me just show you this little device. I haven't put this together yet because it's only just arrived, but this is again from the company, and it's called a temporary mimic board. The point is that I had this with half a dozen in earlier, and I assure you that there was a mass of wires everywhere and I couldn't control and hold it and do it. I had tape on every bit, holding one next to another. But with this device it's very, very simple, because you have a situation where you have numbers 1 to 12 and 13 through 24. Fantastic. And all you do, if I take one of these spare switches, put it in the back, it's a perfect fit, as you can see. You have 2 little screws that come with the switch, and they just screw into the back of this lasered piece of ply. And all you simply do after that, and let's actually try and put in the one that works. So there's that, and there's the switch. Okay, if I put that switch in like so, and then if I put these 2 LEDs in as well, and they literally are just a push fit, very simple, nudge them in, hold them there, there we go. Now you have a very simple way of identifying that's moving, these are moving, press the button again. What could be simpler? Yeah. So it's only a little leap of faith to take this one step further and make a mimic panel for yourself, or indeed I think the company also make them for you on commission. That's fine too. I've decided that because Sandling Junction is still in its infancy, to be quite honest, and we've barely started, or I've barely started with laying track, and I've had to make some subtle adjustments and some quite major decisions as I've laid that track round, because of bearers going underneath have got in the way, certain geometries not working. So to that end, I didn't want to make a big statement with a mimic board and get anybody to do it. I am actually talking with a friend who's got a lot more savvy than I have, and he's actually going to help me make one. But that aside, I made a temporary one, and it will hold these in this fashion, and this will help me to start with, and I can't thank Megapoints enough for supplying me with this thing, because it's, you can see it's just working beautifully. Let's just put that round so you can see it a little easier. Wires got a life of their own, huh? Easy. And that will be the whole thing all the way through there and all the way through there. 24 of them. And I can number them, well they are numbered here, and I can number them on my layout, and I know exactly which one is being moved. And in the same way as that you would put a cobalt or tortoise up underneath your point, you so can put these up. You can either put a piece of self-adhesive on here quite easily, some 3M, something like that, which would stick, or indeed you can screw through into your baseboard exactly where you want it. Job done. So I think that for me this is the way to go. Okay, now let me just end this video because it's going to drag on, and it wasn't meant to be a big how-to. It was merely just reporting what I decided to do for Sandling. And what I'll also be working on is this too. Now it's not perfect by any means, and luckily I'm a picture framer, because as well as an artist, because I have access to moulding, and I have my lad just knock up this thing here, and it's double. So we've got a situation where I can have it hinged, I can put it on struts to hold it when it's up, but all the wiring can be hidden under here, any control panels etc. down in here, and I actually can take the bottom out and put it at the bottom and gain another little bit of space if I find that the wiring is too cramped. So that's all good. So right, what I did was I just used indelible ink pens, worked out roughly 3mm lines, so one of those cheap felt tip pens that you can commonly get will do the job. And all I've done is designated the fiddle yard areas, the down line, the up line, and working through to the branch line. But you saw me last time just putting all the wires into this on that little speed up, so I just wanted to show you the result. Here's some of the lights, by no means all, but let me just show you, watch these moving. and you can see the corresponding point blades working, and we'll go to this one too. All these that are alight are all working. All wired up underneath, all doing their good job. Wasn't easy, but what I've done is I've got a servo controller just under there on a simple wooden bracket, and from that all the wires go out to the points that are in this location on various extension wires as needed, and using cable tie just to try and bunch as much of it together and keep it nice and neat. And those of you who saw me doing this part, there's the inside of the box. You can see that there's the master controller. It's driving all of these servos. There are I think I've got up to 24 on there at the moment, and I will extend the whole thing at some point. But you can see half the lights and the switches are in place. The rest will be added to as it comes round. I did deepen this box down, took the base out and put it underneath, and that gave me a little bit more space so that the wires are not crushed. And what I have done is each of the black numbers you can see there correspond to the lights, and there is a corresponding one that goes in red numbers to the switch. So if I need to pull one out of all this loom, I know the number it is, and I can follow it back, and I can take that one out and remove it without pulling the whole lot off. So that was just me. It's probably about the most organised I've ever been for a long time. But I think it works well. It's a proof of concept. The whole thing is working, and I will add to it, and I will finally put in a proper mimic panel once the whole layout is sorted out. Once everything is done, this is just temporary, but it will show me and get me running and make things. There's already changes here, so that I've got to deal with that at some point. But overall, there will be a master display made at some point in the future. But I just wanted to show you these working, and I'm really pleased about it. And yeah, but in conclusion, very quickly, so I hope you have enjoyed this little insight. It's by no means authoritative. I sort of, for most of it, flown by the seat of my pants. Electrics is not my strong point, and understanding them is even harder. So with that in mind, I'll stop this video now and get it out there, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please put any comments in, and press the like button. But moreover, would you press the subscribe button? We are over 1,000 now, and I've got to do that all-important subscriber special for 1,000, so that will be coming out very, very soon. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Catch you all on the next video, which will be out shortly. All the best for now. Bye bye, guys and girls. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, please put them in the section below, especially those thoughts on the new layout of Sanding Junction. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and at the same time there are other videos to watch there and there. Take a look. Catch you all next time round. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.